Hi, my name is Shahir Daya, and I'm an executive architect at IBM in the Global Cloud Center of Competency. In this video, I want to show you the IBM Bluemix DevOps Services open toolchain that is currently in private beta. Before I get into a demo, let's define what a toolchain is. The slides that you're going to see have been taken from a presentation by Philip Mullett. So what exactly is a toolchain? A toolchain is a set of tools. It's a set of tools that have been integrated together, that work together to support development and deployment tasks. The integrations between these tools and across the toolchain help ease the workflow between the tools so that they work in synergy. The collective capabilities of a toolchain are greater than the sum of the individual tools themselves. What we have found is that innovation is happening primarily in cloud native systems of engagement with small teams that are rapidly iterating, rapidly experimenting, trying new things, and deploying new versions of their applications many times per day. And they're guided by measurements of effectiveness. The most successful of these teams, they adopt modern DevOps architectural patterns, culture, and practices, and they assemble tool chains from the latest and best of breed tools. Now, being able to do this quickly, being able to take a bunch of tools that are best of breed, stitch them together, integrate them together into a DevOps toolchain is a key competitive advantage. The ecosystem of tools is rapidly evolving. The tool of choice today will be different in 6 months. And a considerable amount of effort goes into evaluating, selecting, acquiring, deploying, and integrating these multi-vendor tool chains. And then you have to manage them on an ongoing basis. And how do you do this? How do you roll this out at scale? Not to just one team in your organization, but to teams across your organization. Let's have a look at what we have in Bluemix DevOps Services today. So today it's available in public Bluemix only. It's hosted at hub.jazz.net. It is an automated toolchain. For your project, it's automated. It will set it up and configure it automatically. But it is a fixed toolchain for cloud native development. You'll get a Git repository for your source code. There is a delivery pipeline. You can create your build stage and your deploy stage. There's a web IDE, so you can edit your code in a web browser. It has a track and plan feature that lets you track and plan your agile project. And you can create a deploy to Bluemix button, which is very popular. You can have a GitHub repository and have a deploy to Bluemix button that'll deploy that project in GitHub directly to Bluemix. Here's what is coming in the next version of Bluemix DevOps Services. That next version is about the best of breed industry tool chains that have been proven to work well together in real world projects. It's about the ease of acquisition and deployment of these best of breed tools from an online marketplace that offers you common terms and conditions, a single source of support, and automatic tool configuration. It's going to be about the ease of integration from a single sign-on perspective, from a notifications perspective, from data and status passing, from workflow. It's going to offer you customizable toolchain templates, like a one-click setup approach. And DevOps intelligence, aggregating tool output and analytics on application and delivery process. And it's going to be available on public Bluemix, dedicated Bluemix, and local Bluemix. Let's get into a demonstration. So here I'm in Bluemix. I'm in a space called Open Toolchain. You can see that on the upper right-hand corner. I have no applications or any services in this space. I just literally created the space a few minutes ago. If I go into the console drop down here, and you'll notice that I'm using the new user interface and not the classic user interface. And you can see that there's a category here for DevOps. If I click on DevOps, you'll see that I have no services right now. So there's absolutely nothing in this space. I have no DevOps related services. You see that there's a tab here for tool chains. If I click on that, it'll take me to a page that has a bit of an introduction. Welcome to tool chains. And if you have not signed up for the private beta, when you come to this page, you'll have a button to let you sign up for the private beta. I have already signed up for the private beta. Now, I could click this Create a Toolchain button, which I will do. Keep in mind that there's several entry points to creating a toolchain. Okay, we came into Bluemix, we went to DevOps, we went to the Toolchains tab, and we said create a toolchain, and it's giving us some options here. There's different kinds of toolchains. That we've got a secure container toolchain, a simple Cloud Foundry toolchain, and so on. There's different kinds of toolchains here. Okay, so I could create a toolchain using this approach. Let me let me show you that the toolchain first is let me pick one. Let's pick the simple Cloud Foundry toolchain. So I can go into the toolchain. It's going to show me what that toolchain looks like. It's going to show me what the different tools are. Okay, and the thing I want to point out here is that on the left hand side you see a Git URL. If I click on this Git URL, the toolchain is in the GitHub source code repository. Okay, this is a simple Cloud Foundry toolchain, and you can see, just like there was a deploy to Bluemix button for your Bluemix application, there is a create toolchain button. I could now click on this button and create the toolchain as well. If I was browsing this GitHub repository and I decided that this is the toolchain that I want, I could click this button and have it created. And if I drill down into this folder here, the .bluemix folder, you can see that the toolchain is really comprised of a bunch of configuration YAML files. Okay, so I could create the toolchain from here. The other way I can create a toolchain is if you go to the IBM Bluemix Garage method, which if you haven't gone to, I highly recommend you go check it out. There's lots of detail around the method, the different tracks that are part of the method. There's lots of articles on guidance, and there's tools. If I go to the tools section, you'll see that there's a bunch of tool chains. Okay, so I could pick on, let's say, the cloud native toolchain for microservices. It is experimental. I'm going to go ahead and explore it. It's got some details. I could scroll down and you can see for culture, it recommends Slack. For the think, it recommends GitHub issues. For code, it recommends GitHub and the Eclipse Orion Web IDE and Sauce Labs. For delivery, it obviously recommends the delivery pipeline. For manage, it recommends PagerDuty. And I could scroll down, and there again is that create toolchain button. Okay, so I could create a toolchain by going from the Bluemix Garage method as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to use this approach to create the toolchain. I'm going to go ahead and create an application first. Okay, and I'm going to just keep it very simple. I'm going to simply create a Cloud Foundry application. I'm going to just use the Liberty for Java boilerplate, maybe not even a boilerplate, just the runtime. I'm going to keep it very simple. So let's go ahead and click the plus sign there. And I'm just going to click on Liberty for Java. And I'm going to give the application a name. So I'm going to keep it unique. I'm going to put my prefix it with SDIA. Let's just call it app1. And that's all I need to do. And I'm going to say, go ahead and create this. So now it's provisioning a Liberty for Java runtime for me. And it's going to set that up. And hopefully it'll be running in a few seconds. It's giving me some instructions as well. It's telling me how I'm going to work with this. I could, I could download the CF command line interface and start working with it. I could download the code that's going to be deployed with this Liberty for Java runtime as well, and give me some instructions on setting up my directory, logging into the command line, and doing a CF push of my app, and so on. If you haven't played around with Bluemix, I highly recommend looking at some of the other videos and playing around with Bluemix. So the application is not running yet. It will be shortly. I'm just going to go to the overview tab here, and you'll see that it's a Java Liberty runtime. It's going to just have one instance, 512 megabytes of memory. The app is still starting, and if I scroll down, this is where we're going to go primarily, the continuous delivery section. You can see that there's an add toolchain button, and that's what we will do. So our application should be running soon, and yes, it says your app is running. I can click this view app button and we can take a look at it. It's a simple hello world app, nothing fancy, and that's about it. So let's go back and let's add a tool chain. So I'm going to say go ahead and add a tool chain. Now at this point, this is the other entry point to creating a tool chain. It's going to have a tool chain that it's going to be recommending. And this is the tool chain for my app. It's a simple Liberty for Java app, and this is the tool chain that it's recommending. I can change the name of the tool chain here. I'm going to go ahead and remove these numbers and just call it tool chain. And you can see that there's a few things that need to be configured. GitHub, and I think that's the only one that needs, no, it actually does not need configuration. There's none that need configuration. I was looking for an asterisk. There is none that needs configuration. And I can go ahead and say create. And it is creating my toolchain. And the toolchain has been created. Okay, it's going to take me to view the toolchain. And there's my toolchain. Okay, so I can go ahead and start looking at some of these things. So for example, Eclipse Orion Web IDE, I'm going to right click and say open in a new tab so that I don't have to close the toolchain browser page, because I'll keep coming back to it. So I just opened this in a new tab. Let's go to it. It's setting up that workspace, and soon you will see the Web IDE. And this is my project. On the left hand side, you see, I could drill down the source code. Let's just drill down to, let's say, the web app. How about the index.html? It's a simple one. You can see that, there was a message that said, thank you for creating a Liberty for Java starter. And that is this app. Thank you for creating the Liberty for Java web starter application. So that was my web IDE. I could open the delivery pipeline as well in a new window. And you'll see it's a very simple delivery pipeline. Just a Java Liberty application. It's got a build stage and a deploy stage. Now these haven't run, right? They haven't run yet. Okay. The thing about this toolchain is that I can add to it, right? So I can decide I'm going to go ahead and click the add button. For now, these are the tools that are available. Okay, there's a few, and there's more coming, obviously, right? This is it's in private beta. There's a few things that have been configured. So you can see that I could add Slack, for example. Let's add Slack. Why not? Okay, it's saying I need a Slack API authentication token. Okay, let's click that information button. Let's see what happens. Okay, I can find a token. I can get a test token from here. I'm going to go ahead and say Slack API website. I am already logged into Slack, so I see some instructions. I see generate a test token. Yeah, let's generate a test token. I can see a test token here for this team right here. Show here demo. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. That's my test token. I'm going to go back to configuring Slack. Let's paste my token in there. Slack channel. What should we call it? Let's call it SDI app1. App1 support. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and create this integration. And as simple as that, I have integrated Slack into my toolchain, but you can see setup failed. Let's go and reconfigure. What's going on? Did I not get that token correct? No, I obviously did not. It's a bit bigger than that. Why did that not copy? Let's try this again. Maybe I'll just paste it into a notepad first, make sure we get the whole thing. Yeah, that looks right. And bring it back here. That's better. Okay, save the integration. Let's try this again. Okay, so now it's configured. And I have Slack running, so it's down here. And you can see that I already see a new channel that's been created, SDIA App1 Support. Just going to click on it, and you can see there's already messages in there. And it says, you created this channel today. You just saw me do it. This is the very beginning of the SDIA App1 Support channel. Purpose: this channel was created to handle notifications from DevOps Services, Toolchain, SDIA App1 Toolchain. That's pretty good. And you can see that there's some messages in there already. Okay, so that piece of the configuration work, that was fantastic. That was very, very quick. Let's try and put in another tool. Let's take a look at the catalog. Let's put PagerDuty. So I'm going to click on PagerDuty, a little more configuration. Now I do have PagerDuty. I have a trial account on PagerDuty. Here it is. You can see it's shahirdaya.pagerduty.com. I did go in and ask for an API key, so you can see API access. When you create an API key, as soon as you create it, you have one chance to copy it, and then it gets hidden away from you. Okay. So I do have the API key, and that's what I'm going to use in my demo. So if I go back to where I just was adding PagerDuty to it, I'm going to select Shahir Daya. That was my PagerDuty account. That's my key. Service name, I'm going to just put SDIA App1. And my email, I'm going to let it be my sdia@ca.ibm.com email. I'm going to put my phone number, which is my real cell phone number, and I'm going to create this integration. And again, just like that, my integration is set up and configured. Now, if I look on Slack, you can see that there is a message. Service PagerDuty SDIA App1 has been bound to the toolchain. Pretty cool. Okay, so let's try and do something that actually, causes PagerDuty and Slack to do some stuff. So let us actually make a code change. Why don't we make a code change? I think that would be good. Let's make a code change. Let's see where. Yeah, it says thanks for creating. Okay, let's add some text. Okay, I'm just going to say open Toolchain demo, and then we'll say thanks for creating. So I have made a code change. Okay, I don't need to save it because my web IDE is configured so that it automatically saves. I can click save. Looks good to me. I have to go into obviously the Git. I have to go into Git, and I'm going to see that change as a change. I'm going to commit it, and then I'm going to push it. Okay, so you can see that on the left-hand side, there's nothing outgoing, nothing incoming. On the right-hand side, you can see that here's the index.html file that I changed. And you can see the code change that I made. You can see, that I added the Open Toolchain demo. I'm going to unselect this guy and this guy. We are going to go ahead and give it a message. I'm going to say minor text change, and I'm going to go ahead and commit it. So it's committed. It's an outgoing change. You can see it right there. I can go ahead and push it. Now I'm pushing it, and what's going to happen is that you're going to see the pipeline. It's going to detect that there was a commit, and it's going to automatically start a build. So you see the build is automatically started. At the same time, if you look in Slack, everybody that's part of this channel is going to see that a build has started. Okay, it's been queued, it's been started, and we're going to start getting messages here. You can see that it's the build is finished, it passed, and a deploy has started. Okay, so you're going to start getting messages in that Slack channel around what's happening in your delivery pipeline, when a build starts, when it's been queued, when it finishes, if it passed, and so on. Okay, now obviously I'm not expecting this. The build obviously didn't fail, it passed. I'm not expecting the deploy to fail either. It's straightforward. We made a very simple code change. It's deploying it right now, and as soon as the deploy is done, obviously we will get a message in Slack here that it's been deployed. And once it's been deployed, we'll go ahead and we'll refresh the page, make sure that the text changes. And then for the next part, what I'll do is I'm going to try to cause it to fail. Okay, we'll figure out a way to cause maybe we'll cause the deploy to fail. Let the build be successful. We'll cause the deploy to fail, and once the deploy fails, we hope that it'll fire off messages in Slack, but at the same time, we'll send an event to PagerDuty, and we'll see the incident there, and we'll also hopefully the phone will ring, and we'll get a phone call from PagerDuty telling us that that a deployment actually failed. So you can see that the deploy has passed. I can go back here and you can see that my app is there. If I go to my application here, if I just refresh this page, instead of, you can see now it says Open Toolchain Demo. So that code change and the deployment worked perfectly. So what I'm going to do now, like I said, is let's go back to the actual code. I'm going to go ahead and edit the code. And what I'm going to do is something very simple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to simply change the manifest file. If I go to the manifest YAML file here, you can see that in the manifest, we basically tell it how much memory, right? 512 megabytes. Now, if I go ahead and say 512, and I'm just going to add a few zeros here. Obviously, I do not have this much memory in my quota for Bluemix. So I would expect this to fail. Okay, so let's go ahead and try it. Let's go ahead and say file save. And I'm going to go back to the Git. And you can see the code change. I'm just going to we're going to give it a message shortly. You can see the code chain. I'm going to say force deploy failure, and I'm going to commit this. Okay, so I'm going to commit this. It's committed. It's an outgoing change. I'm going to go ahead and push it, and you're going to start seeing messages again. Okay, so the build is going to run, deploy is going to run, and it should start failing. Okay, so you can see things have started. And I've just brought up my phone here. Okay, so you can see the deploy has started. I'm expecting the deploy to fail very, very quickly, because obviously it's going to, you can see it's failed, and hopefully my phone will ring if it's been configured, everything's been configured properly. Just raising the volume here. And there's the message, the text message from PagerDuty, and there's another text message from PagerDuty, and there's the phone call I was expecting.
PagerDuty alert. You have one triggered incident on Staya F1. The failure is joke deploy in stage 2 of pipeline Staya F1 toolchain from toolchain Staya. Press 4 to acknowledge. Press 6 to resolve. Press 0 for help or press star to repeat this message. The incident was resolved. Goodbye.
So that was a phone call, and it gave me some options. I pressed 6 to resolve the issue, and it's resolved. Okay, and if I go back to the browser, let me just minimize this phone here. You can see that here I've got the information of exactly what happened. If I go back to, let's say, PagerDuty here, and I refresh the screen, you'll see that the incidents are there, and it's been resolved by me, by phone, and so on. So if I went into this, for example, to see some details, um, you can see it says job deploy stage number 2 of pipeline. This was the tool chain, and it has failed. And there's a link here, and ibm.biz, and it's got the short link. I'm going to click on it. Let's see where it takes us. It's going to take us to the log of the deploy stage of that job that actually failed. This is exactly what failed, and here's the error. You have exceeded your organization's memory limit. Okay, so very, very cool. And let's just very quickly recap what we did here. Okay, we went into Bluemix. We created an application using, to keep it simple, I just used a Java Liberty runtime and created an application. I then decided to add a toolchain. It added a toolchain that had GitHub issues, GitHub, it had the web IDE, and it had the delivery pipeline. And we went into the delivery pipeline. We went into the web IDE. We saw the code. We saw the delivery pipeline was automatically configured and set up for us. We added Slack. We added PagerDuty. Of course, we needed to add our API keys and some of the details of our accounts on Slack and the account on PagerDuty. And then we made a code change, and we did a deploy. This was a clean, a very simple code change. We added some static text, but on the Slack channel, we got messages of when the deploy was queued, when it started, it was successful, when, we got all of those messages. And then we did another test where we forced it to fail by asking for way too much memory, and it failed. And we saw the similar type of messages in the Slack channel. So all the members of the team, the development team that are on that Slack channel, can see all that happening. And PagerDuty fired. It was like, hang on a second, this is an incident. It it sent me a text message because I was the phone number that was on that the phone number that we configured. Sent me a text message, and then he called me up and told me exactly what the problem was. Give me some options saying, do you want to acknowledge it? Press this number to acknowledge it. Press this number if you want it to be resolved. I just kept it simple. I said resolve it. I went into PagerDuty. I saw the incident. You saw that in the doc inside PagerDuty, there was a link that took me directly into the delivery pipeline, the deploy stage, and the logs for that deploy stage, the log that actually failed that resulted in my phone ringing. Okay, so some very, very cool stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed the demo, and I'll be back for some more. Thank you very much.